Going.
Well, hi, Michael. It's
Hi,
nice
Jen.
to see you.
Hi, Jennifer.
It's wonderful to have you visit my shop here and see the instrument I'm making for you. But I wanted to know, how did you find out about me? When did you first hear about me?
Well, Jennifer, I first heard about you several years ago, and I can't remember how long, but I think it was reading the Strad magazine and reading about your father making violins, and then I read about you also. And so for years, I followed you making violins, and so I finally, I was so excited to get to come up to St. Paul, Minnesota, and meet you for the first time last year.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, it was a fun visit.
Yeah.
And I know you came up looking at instruments and trying out various ones, and one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, you were picking out wood, and we got
Yeah.
all excited and
Yeah.
ordered one.
Yeah. Well,
So
your case, I think you had about 15 instruments in there, and I remember the Roth violins, and so I played each violin, and I got to your great grandfather's violin, the
Right.
Herman Macklett,
yeah,
and that was the one I liked the best. But still, I always felt like I wanted you to make one for me,
okay.
and just because of your experience and what I've read from people that own your violins.
I love making instruments
And
by
then-
custom made.
And then also, there's something, when you look at an instrument, sometimes you can just tell that they're good. And when I saw your work and your craftsmanship on the wall
Mhm.
of the ones you had that was partially made last year, I just felt that yours would be the better choice.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That's nice, and I really enjoy making something, getting to know the person, knowing what they like in tone, because I know I can do that. I get an idea of what they like. I can do a lot with making and create an instrument that sounds exactly what they like.
Yeah.
So it's not a mystery, and it all starts with picking out the wood, and this is a top. And you remember when we picked out your back? We talked
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
tone, and I
Yeah.
brought down a couple of backs and said,
Yeah.
okay, which one of these do you like
Yeah.
the best?
Yeah,
You know?
and you explained some things about the tone too, and you told me that the angle of the grain
Yep.
made a difference, whether it was straight up
Yep.
or at an angle, and you explained some of the different characteristics that made the tone that I wanted, and so you gave me the choices, and I always wanted the one piece back,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
so,
And you liked fine grain,
yes, and I
fine
liked the fine grain.
curl, fine curl.
So when I saw this piece here, and I like the little bit of irregularity. It's just
Yeah.
like special. I'll always know that this is mine.
Oh, that is a unique piece of
Yes.
wood. I mean, out of all the instruments I've made, there's an area here where I actually have to go, all the other instruments I made, this would be going against the grain and be rough. No, this piece of wood, I have to cut the wood this way to make it smooth.
Wow.
It's the only one. Out of all the instruments I've made, the only
Wow.
one where that spot I have to go this direction.
Wow.
So they're all unique individual instruments. You know, each piece of wood is a little bit different. And this has those little pin knots here,
Yeah.
and there's another area over here that's real tricky. And you get to know the wood as you work
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So-
and reading magazines and seeing some of the original instruments like the Stradivarius, well, and the Ganarius, and I remember seeing some with different formations in the grade.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it just makes them more famous to me.
Yeah, and you find out what you're going to deal with as you go down, because you know we couldn't see exactly what was here in the rough piece of wood. So this is
And then I picked out the back and sides, but by the tone that I wanted in the violin, you said that you would pick out the top
right,
to be able to achieve that.
right, and I did that by this is a top that I've already joined and roughed out, and you hold it and you tap it.
And hear that nice
You can
ring.
hear that ring. So I did that with yours so that it would match the back. See, that's got a nice ring to it. That'll make a nice combination. So I'm having
And that's something that
fun.
comes from years of experience working with to
Yes.
know the combination.
Yes, yeah, I know. It was quite a process just picking out the wood. At the beginning of every summer, my dad and grandfather would go through and select all the backs and the tops that they were going to make that year. And I was amazed at how long it took them to figure out which top went to which back, what they were going to do, who was going to get the wood, all this kind of stuff. It took them a couple of days just to select the wood. And I didn't see much difference in this piece and that piece and everything, but it was a total process, and roughing it out and getting it to that stage, and it took a lot of time to set it up right. So it's worth it. Now I understand what's going on.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm still learning. And I've read a lot of books about violins, and someday maybe I'll try to make one. I've actually tried to start one, but it's a difficult process.
You find out how hard it is.
Yeah, and I would love to be able to teach myself, but violin making, I just don't think you need to work with someone.
Well, it's a matter of strength too.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started, my grandfather gave me a knife and said, "Okay, now cut this piece of wood," and it was pine. And I was having trouble cutting it. And he says, "How can you be having trouble cutting that? It cuts like butter. It's pine, it's so much softer than maple.
Yeah.
How can you?" And they watched me do it, and it's like, oh, we need to build up your muscles. I didn't have the strength in my hands to hold the knife right to make a cut.
Wow.
So then we started exercising. And I wound up with the strongest grip in school.
Wow.
Got back to school
That's
after that.
And when you start, I think you said, or I read that you were 16?
I was 11.
11.
I was 11 years old, when I started,
So
and
very young.
It took a number of years to make my first violin. I didn't do anything else but that. So I started full time when I was 16.
Wow.
And that's when I started doing some of the repair work and assisting my dad and carve the scroll. And like I said earlier, by the time you get to the scroll, you've got to have enough strength in your hands to control gouges and not hurt yourself. And so, it took me a number of years. I think a lot of people start when they're older, and they already have some strength involved there. A lot of the makers today were 10 years older than me when they started, or they go through college, and they're already stronger than I was when I was 11.
Wow.
I was determined.
Well, you had some great teachers with your father and making with your grandfather.
2 teachers to 1 student, that's a learning ratio.
Yeah.
You wear one out, the other one takes over. So I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't do anything else. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life. So it's going to be a pleasure making this instrument for you. I know we're going to have fun in the future, and this is going to be great.
I've enjoyed so much following along on Facebook as you put the posts of the progress, and then coming here today and be able to see it in person.
I'm going to put that one up of you planing.
Yeah.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, my friends will get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
But I am so anxious to be able to play the violin next year.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, congratulations, and to be continued.
Well, thanks, Jennifer.
Yep.